Hi, everyone. I'm Tracy Lewis from We Are Winter Garden. Welcome to episode 29 of Straight Talk, No BS with Matthew's Hope. One of the goals of the podcast is to have candid discussions about some of the many stereotypes and misconceptions associated with those experiencing homelessness. This week, we are going to take you back in time to one of our first episodes and revisit a controversial topic that received a lot of attention. I was joined by Pastor Scott, who is the founder, CEO, and president of Matthew's Hope, as well as Shelley Bradford, who is the vice president and executive director of Matthew's Hope. So we call this podcast Straight Talk, No BS with Matthew's Hope. And in this episode, I want to ask you guys a question because I am going to be completely honest. I've thought it myself, and I'm sure other people have, whether they have said it out loud or not. But why don't they just get a job?
Yeah. So when I was a little girl, I grew up in Dallas.
Okay.
And when I was a little girl, that we had panhandlers all the time in downtown Dallas. And we would be driving to church and my dad would go, I'm not giving them money. Why don't they just get a job? And even back then, when I was a little girl, I thought, it just can't be that easy. And I didn't understand what I was thinking at the time. But the more that I have learned about, homelessness and what it takes and, people losing their IDs and not, in order to get a job, you have to have an address.
You're right.
You have to have two forms of ID.
Right.
And people that get stolen all the time. So it's not just as easy as somebody going to McDonald's and making $15 an hour.
Right. So you touched a little bit on what's required to get a job. You need an address.
Yep.
Which they don't have. They need an ID, which they don't have or it's lost or stolen.
Right. And
we talked a little bit about getting a haircut, taking a shower. What other things are required? I mean, we can all kind of think of it, but maybe we don't even think about it because we already have it. We already have our needs met. So we don't think, oh, well, I didn't think of that. That already is happening to me. So I didn't think of that. That's the reason why I got this job, or it was easier for me to get a job than somebody who's homeless. What else do they struggle with? What's challenges for them?
To touch on the other two is that the one thing we do is we become their address. Okay, we become their home address. So that way, because without that address, you can't work, you can't get any kind of assistance whatsoever. You have to have an address, which always kills me when we're talking about homeless people. Homeless people need an address. Okay.
Right.
How's that going to work? Okay.
Right.
So we become their address, number one. But also, sometimes there's more to it also because these people have been beaten down and they have bought into the lie that they're less than. And so a lot of it too is building their dignity again. Sometimes working with them as simple as how they address things. Pick what battles you're going to fight.
Right.
Okay. What language to use. Because again, there's a street language. And the street language is not going to work in most cases in most employment opportunities. So we even do mock interviews where we've brought in HR people from various companies, and we're always looking for more people to do that, to do mock interviews so they can learn what's being questioned now. What are the questions being asked? And if they've had some time where maybe they were incarcerated, whatever, maybe not start out there. Tell the truth, but you might probably don't want to say, I just got out of the 33rd.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Leave that down before they get to know you a little bit. But training them how to go through the process and how to dress appropriately for, not every job. It doesn't make sense for some jobs for you to show up in a suit. Everybody wants to put somebody in a suit. You send a guy in a suit that's going for a construction job, and I can tell you he's not going to get it.
Yeah, it's a little.
Okay. It's just not going to happen. I remember, I came out of years ago, I was a commodities trader and stockbroker. And so I was wearing suits all the time. And I'd gone into construction software. And I walked in one day and this guy, this contractor, looks at me and he goes, "You with the mob?" Okay. And all of a sudden I realized, I start looking around the room and I thought, you know what, first we got to get this jacket off.
Yeah.
Then I start rolling up my sleeves. I need to become part of who they were.
Right.
And so that's part of what we try to do is sit down one-on-one and try to say, okay, here's, what do you want to be when you grow up? Okay. Dream again. Okay. Because truth is, getting that job at McDonald's is they're not going to survive off that.
You always talk about dignity. I hear you a lot with dignity. So I guess that's good to learn what their passion is and what they're they probably have, like, we all have skills,
Well,
regardless.
and most
Sure.
have given up
So
any
what
kind
are-
of dream they might have. Now, I'll also tell you, we've had people that are this shy of a degree or certification. Over the years, we've had at least 4 that I can think of that had nursing degrees,
Wow.
but didn't have their license. They were single moms working at a local convenience
Yeah.
store, just trying to take care of their kids. They couldn't put together those few $100s that, so we take care of that.
Okay.
Okay. And those people are no longer homeless. So it's a different thing for each person. That's why it's so important we peel that onion back.
Yeah.
In the last episode, we talked about children and the families that are homeless, and so that's an obstacle too for them, I assume, because they have children.
Mhm.
So how can you guys help a family who's on the street, who's willing and who's wanting to get a job, but they have a child?
Well, we have
Is
our
there-
Firm Foundation School.
Okay.
So if you're homeless, your kids can go there for free. And then from there, it's a sliding scale.
Gotcha.
So, and that'll actually, free up time for people to be able to work. I mean,
Right.
mothers are survivors.
Yeah.
Well, all parents are survivors, really, but mothers are survivors.
Yeah.
And, just like Scott said, we had people who they were just doing whatever it took to make sure that their children were fed.
Right.
But just that one step could get them to the next level.
Mm-hmm. So what if somebody doesn't have the education or necessarily all the skills that will get them a job that's going to put them in a position to get an apartment, because you need first month's rent, you need last month's rent, you need a deposit. They're getting minimum wage. So that, I'm assuming, is an obstacle.
It's a huge obstacle. I mean, often what happens is we will let people work. Here's something we have in our program is anybody who wants to work at Matthews Hope can
Okay.
for a period of time. What we do is we pay them points instead of dollars, but those points are backed by real dollars and allows them the opportunity. We help control how that money is spent.
Okay.
They want to pay child support so they can see their kids, we would pay that. Have their teeth replaced, we'd pay for that. If there's fines that need to be paid or things they need to save for, there's different things if it helps them move forward towards that life of independence and self-sustainability. So, but what we do by bringing them in to allow them to work at Matthews Hope is it gives us a chance to learn their work ethic. And then working in our shop, learning how to build furniture. It starts out by sanding. They may learn how to run our CNC machines, our laser cutter.
Okay.
And so couple things happen. One is they may able to take that skill out to the marketplace, but at the very least, it builds a confidence. So that if somebody says, "Are you comfortable on a computer?" Yes, I am.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The rest they can learn.
Right.
And so we have people that quite often, because our program is set up the way it is, people will call and say, "Scott, who do you have to pass the drug test, has a strong work ethic, is either teachable or trainable, or they have a particular skill set?"
Yeah.
And we can answer that question honestly. We know because
Right.
we do drug tests, we do the background checks, we do all those type of things.
Oh, that's great. I love that you guys have that set up to help them do that. And is that part of the Moving Forward program?
Yeah, and there's various levels of moving forward.
There's a lot
Moving
of
forward,
levels.
the whole centers from our housing also.
Okay.
But what people don't understand is you got to work your way into that typically.
So it's
Right.
not just given to people.
Right.
It's
Right.
helping them along the way to learn those skills and the life skills and the work skills and how to do all of that and get the ID and the address.
Right.
Okay.
I was gonna actually bring that up. One of the things that we do to help them be able to get the job and move forward is if they don't have their ID, we help them get that again.
And I'm sure that's an obstacle because
It can be for sure.
Do they carry a folder with their social security number and all
Well,
of
no,
that?
it-
Because
you start from scratch.
yeah.
There's times where we literally have a book that we've developed over time, a notebook that has the different contacts throughout the country to get birth certificates and social security cards and those type of things. You have to get DD 214s
Yeah.
if they were in the military. So we help them get that stuff. And the unfortunate part is, let's say they came out of New York. It will take 6 months to get that. But they don't have 6 months to be able to help try to take care of themselves. And so that's where we step in and we say, okay, well, we'll let you work with us for now and we'll go from there.
Nice.
As long as someone is working, going to school for some kind of certification or degree, we're going to hang in there with them and work them through the process.
Have you guys ever had somebody, like maybe it's a business or an employer, somebody in a position to hire somebody, but they say, why doesn't that the homeless person just go get a job? Are they willing to hire that person, or are they just like how
Go
have
get a
you
job
guys?
somewhere
You want to
else.
tackle that one?
Yeah, like
Just
have
go
you
get a
guys
job
ever
somewhere else.
experienced that? Because
Get a job, but we're not going to give it
but
to
we're
you.
not going to give
Yeah.
it to you.
Yes.
Like
Yes. That
That
is
happened recently.
really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody go, why don't you get a job? Well, you're posting jobs. Would you hire one?
Right.
Well, not here. We could. We're not in a place that we could do that.
So what
How
What
would
does
you
that
know?
mean?
What would you
How do
say
you
to
know?
businesses? Like if anybody's listening that they are looking for somebody, but they're not like opening their heart and their mind to even considering that, but they're throwing that around. Like what would you say to somebody who
Give them a chance.
yeah.
I think give them a chance, but this also, we have found that some of our folks end up being the most reliable people there are because they see their opportunities are minimal and they become very loyal. They'll be, because we teach people, if you're not early, you're late. Okay, when they're going through our program, you're clocking in and out. You are made a responsible party throughout the whole process because we want you to understand how the real world works.
Right.
And so if somebody says something inappropriate, does something inappropriate, we do what's called a correction action form. And it's kind of like sitting down with HR and we're sitting there going, okay, here's what took place. This is why. The good news for you is you're in our program, so you're not going to get fired.
Yeah.
The bad news is had you been in the real world and reacted that way or walked off the job because you didn't like how you were being treated.
Sure.
Okay. People throw jobs away pretty easy sometimes.
Yeah.
Because they were disrespected.
Boss was mean.
Which, when I hear that, disrespected, pastorally speaking, what the hell does that mean? Respect is something you earn and gain. You don't
Sure.
disrespected. What the hell did you do to earn your respect? Okay. But that said, get them out of that mindset that nobody owes them anything and you are in competition with the rest of the world.
Right.
And we're going to help you by filling your toolbox with the best possible tools. So when you go into that competition, you're going to come out on top. And that's so critical to what we do.
So I'm thinking of like other places that don't have Matthew's Hope and all these homeless people, and they don't have somebody like you guys, like your ministry, to help them get an ID and all this. I wonder what in the world they're doing. Like, I don't want to say like the homeless people are blessed here, but we honestly as a community are blessed that you guys are here for those who who need that, or who want to, but they just don't know how to yet, or they've lost their ID and they can come to you guys. So I think that's pretty amazing that we have the resource here, but you guys couldn't be here without funds.
We can't do without the community. That's bottom line.
So
we would not be here.
What can we do? Because I have been one of those people. Why don't they just get a job? I didn't understand it. So that's why we're asking these questions, to help understand, to learn the perspective, learn the process, and what is available. And you guys are available. So how can we come alongside you guys so you can continue to do what you're doing?
And Tracy, before Shelley addresses that, I want to put this out there also, is that there's more to it than just getting the IGP. See, there's a lot of really good organizations out there that do bits and pieces of what we do. The challenge is trying to bring that all together. We did that. Yeah, we did. We are who we are because out of necessity. The closest thing to us 13 years ago in Orange County was 11 miles away. 13 going 14 years later, it's 11 miles away. So we had to, as we learned of specific needs and what employers were expecting and what people needed, we just started adding it into the portfolio, if you will. And so I think that I tell people all the time, if it was just a job, I'd open up a job employment agency.
Sure.
If it was just, I just had a car, then I'd get into the car business. It's all those things and more. It's transportation. It's the ability to have a shower. I mean, I said to an employer the other day that said something kind of ugly, and I said, so if I brought a busload of guys down to you that haven't showered and don't get proper rest each night, and can't do their laundry and don't get haircuts and don't have IDs, you're willing to hire them?
Yeah.
Well, because of course not. That oversimplifies it. And I go, no, the point is it's not oversimplified.
Yeah.
It's all those things and more.
Right. Okay. So you guys talked about helping them get jobs and skills. And can you talk a little bit more about the workshop? Because I've been in the workshop. I've met some of the guys there, some of the gals there, and what they're doing is amazing. And I don't think enough of the community knows about it and how they can get involved that way. So can you guys talk a little bit more about that and what we can do to support that?
The great thing about the workshop is you can actually see people's work ethic, but also you see people's minds open up and they decide, they can actually do something and they're valuable. We have a girl now that came to us really broken, and she has blossomed in the workshop, and she comes up with neat ideas and new ideas, and now she gets upset if somebody wants to do her idea.
Yeah.
And I teased one day and I said, none of this is original. We all get this stuff off of Pinterest.
Yeah.
But just to see her mind work, that's been the most amazing thing to me.
And being given the opportunity to fail.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And
It's important.
this particular individual comes from a family that has homelessness all over it, in generational and cross-generational. And she is a very broken person. And to watch this first get out of her own head.
Sure.
But then having been told no your whole life, and suddenly someone says, try it, with no repercussion if it doesn't go well.
Wow.
And I got to tell you, we've never had someone, male or female, that has started building furniture and stuff this soon.
So fast, right?
So is that what they do at the workshop? They create furniture. They create what are they building in the workshop?
Sometimes they're building custom pieces.
Okay. So anybody can call you guys and request a custom piece. You guys get a price to them, and then that helps not only support those who are making this stuff, but then it also supports to help with their what was like the Matthew Hope Bucks? Is that what they're called?
Pastor Bucks.
Pastor Bucks. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's I mean, they're custom furniture. We're refinishing. The only thing we take, and again, it upsets people sometimes, but we really only take wood furniture, hardwood furniture, that we can repair, refinish, or repurpose. And then we build furniture out of hardwood. Little things that are said. This just happened the other day. Someone got a quote for a little dresser. It was only $170. And they thought it was too high. The reason they thought it was too high is, well, you just have homeless people back there building it.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, wow, okay, why is the fact that they're homeless, why is their skill set any less valuable?
Yes, right.
Okay. People come in here sometimes and they expect to see a thrift shop here at the Hope Chest store.
So I just wanted to ask, where are we and what is this?
We are sitting in the Hope Chest store, and people can come in here and shop daily.
Okay.
In here, and it's furniture that again we have built, refurnished, repurposed.
So I'm looking at these,
some of it is home decor.
Cool.
These things are really popular for folks that are.
I just moved to Oakland.
Love it. Lived there for 25 years. So
they can get their city on here.
We can do almost anything. We have laser cutters. We have CNC machines. We can do family crests.
I've seen keychains you guys have.
Oh
here.
yeah, it's some of the stuff is beyond.
I'm looking for a shelf, so that would be something that
we
they
could
could
do
make.
that. We do work with Live Edge. We do a lot of really cool stuff, and again, it builds confidence. They feel like they have integrity because we are giving an opportunity to kind of manage themselves in the process. But at the same time, what's also cool is we have former guests that are now on staff mentoring these new people.
Is Greg one of those?
Greg is one of those.
Yeah. And he really has mentored this one girl amazing. And it's not just through the wood. He's mentored her through her thinking and this
so
is
powerful.
where I was. And it's really been neat to watch because it took a long time for us to get Greg there.
Yeah.
He wanted everything to be perfect. And now he's okay if somebody messes up because he knows it can be fixed.
So at one of the events, he spray painted something for my son, and it's my son's favorite piece that he has.
Mhm.
It's absolutely mind-blowing, the
He's
talent.
very talented. And the thing is about what gave me the idea years ago was we had this piece of furniture that someone had given us, and it was broken. And one of the guys we were serving at the time says, "Can I try to fix that?"
Wow.
And within a couple days, I'm not paying attention. Not only did it fix it, I didn't even recognize it.
Wow.
I mean, they sanded it down, they repaired it, they fabricated the piece that was broken to match the other pieces where you wouldn't know it would have ever broken. We've done that for many people that have like a family heirloom. It's no longer an antique because it broke off a spindle or something, but they fabricate the spindle.
Wow.
And, and the other thing I'll say, I feel it's important to say is that, we are not a thrift store, and we aren't the cheapest. If there's places you can buy for less money, there's a Big Lots right next to us, and that's what you want. But if you're looking for a hardwood piece of furniture that can be passed down for generations, and possibly had been passed down through generations,
You're giving me goosebumps.
and someone lost the value in it,
Yeah.
it's kind of like our people.
Yeah. That's
The
amazing.
value, their value had been lost.
Right.
And so we're refinding the value, we're restoring and rebuilding them at the same time. And so now you have a piece that has a really cool story that when it falls off the truck, it will bounce and have a little bit more character, much like us, right, in life.
Yeah.
And as opposed to, I tell somebody else that falls off the back truck, just keep driving. It's in pieces.
Right.
We aren't IKEA, we aren't Big Lots, nothing against them.
Sure.
But this is hardwood, handcrafted stuff, and it's beautiful.
Shopping at the Hope Chest store is a great way to support Matthew's Hope. And you can also help by hitting the like, share, and follow button to help us reach a bigger audience as we continue to spread the word about the realities of homelessness and the homeless crisis our community and country is facing.